Welcome back to Off the Field. This is our second episode where we are talking about when cheaters never prosper. With us in the studio today, we've got a very special guest who's joining us, the head of first team operations for FC Goa. We've got Karthik Menda with us. So you go more into the detail of this is who I want.
Yes.
Now, is this really who will fit the bill?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
And when you find someone who would fit the bill,
Yes.
I believe you're looking for characteristics which, as you mentioned, are on the field and off the field. And then they tick the boxes.
Exactly. So, see, basically, if I say out of 600,
Yeah.
maybe 10% are really good players,
Okay.
which we would like to have in our team.
Okay.
Then we keep shifting, maybe we come down to 1%. Then, obviously, characters like off the field and off the field. It's very important to have players who are who will gel well with the teammates, who will not cause problems for the team and for the club or on or off the field. Like, so that's where these minute differentiators are placed.
Right. Talking about minute differentiators, this is what you can do. You go from 600, you come down to 10%, you come down to 1%, and then you know that these are the 8. These are the 8 people I believe are going ahead and they're going to represent my selection, the people of Goa, and possibly the people of India tomorrow when it comes to the world watching our football.
Definitely.
But things are not always in our hands. And there could be an incident where you are a screening expert of a football team and they yet go ahead and do something which you wouldn't be proud of? How would you handle that?
It's a very tricky situation because suddenly the whole media spotlight is on you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thankfully, there are, so whenever a player makes contracts and things like that, there are a lot of things stipulated in the contract which bind him not to do any things which would put the club or the player in a bad light. It does happen that, okay, now something has happened. Now, how do we deal with it? You have to sometimes take a brave front, accept it, what he has done,
Absolutely.
sorry, let him face the ban, go ahead with it. Sometimes we feel he's been unjustly, scrutinized for this.
Yeah, and when you say he now represents a face, he represents a brand, I believe it's not just match day, right?
Definitely not, because a match is once a week.
Right.
The player lives for, like, let's say, in a week of 7 days,
Yeah.
he plays match only one day. 6 days, he's outside somewhere.
Right.
He comes for training, he lives his personal life. So wherever he's going, people will identify him as a player of the team.
So
it's
he
definitely-
carries the brand on
Yes,
and off the field.
Exactly.
A lot more off the field.
Exactly.
A lot more of the field. So, even people watching the show, like a general take back for viewers right now is, you may be representing your family, you represent your corporate office that you work for, you represent life, but that representation that you are taking with you is not just at that moment when you're sitting with your mom and dad, but it's also when you leave the house.
Exactly. And more so, why people will get, these players will get the attention is because people follow them. They are the fans. They love these players. So anything good or bad they do off the field will also be caught and shared without our knowledge, because when he's on the ground, when he's with us, we know what he's doing.
Right.
When he's off the field, if he does something bad, it will share, but when we are not aware of it, and it is already a fire when it comes to us.
Yeah, and I think why go far? All of us have been big fans of Spider-Man. And when we saw the movie, I do remember him saying that with great power comes greater responsibility. So I think the more you rise, the more you actually have something to tell back to the world.
Definitely, because again, people will look up to you. They will follow you what you are doing, as in they will want to emulate you in things that you are doing.
Play acting, unfortunately. Play acting is something which happens a lot with international athletes. I would say it doesn't happen with everybody, but there are still some of these fellows who fall down like a pack of cards. What message does that give back to the budding generation of tomorrow?
See, definitely, again, in this World Cup itself, there have been several instances where, and top players, not small players, I won't take the names because it'll honestly, hurt somebody's
Let's hope
feelings.
they're watching the show.
I hope they are watching the show. There was a penalty incident once
Yes.
where some player stuck his leg out and tripped over the leg.
Okay.
So that's a very debatable question. Like,
Yes.
now, one player was barraged with tackles. He did get some tackles. He did not,
Right.
but you never know when it is. But kids emulate these guys a lot, right from the way the hairstyle, the clothing style, the shoes. But Anish, one thing I'm very happy to say is, kids don't emulate cheating.
Right.
There's a reason for that. The adults are playing to win.
Right.
The kids play to have fun.
Right. So I think the age group matters.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
amazing. You know, that's a very nice thing that you mentioned, that, you know, kids play to have fun.
Yes.
So, you know, it's really important that, you know, fun at a right age inculcates the correct values from sports,
Yes.
the correct values from life. And I think even if we look at life in general, when we first are looking forward to a professional approach towards anything, whether it's, you know, building a good relationship with family or building a good relationship with even with our work desk,
Right.
if we don't have fun,
Yes.
we don't want to build that relationship.
Exactly. Wherever I have gone, it has to be like there has to be some aspect where I enjoy working
Like
there.
the spark.
There has to be a spark. If I don't have a spark, I will be dead by like maybe if I join at 9 o'clock,
Yeah.
by 11 o'clock I'll be flat out there.
You're
There's no-
exhausted.
I'm exhausted.
So yeah, I mean, that's a really interesting angle which you bring to the show, is that spark. I think as long as there's that fire burning within,
Yes.
and how does a fire start? It starts with a basic spark.
Yes.
Right.
But
And-
okay, just sorry, Anish.
Yeah.
That spark can also be used in adults
Yes.
wrongly to cheat. Because
Correct.
see, all they're doing is trying to win the game for themselves, for the country. Nobody likes to lose.
Right.
Kids don't like to lose. How you maintain that spark, how you give shape to that spark is what is really crucial. So when kids are growing, as a coach, as somebody who's working in football, or parents, you need to telling them that, you know, this is how you should use that spark and go ahead. And what they are doing may get them results in a short term, but it's definitely bringing them some bad name. Today, if there are two players, who is the greatest of all time?
Right.
There's always a debate like that.
Absolutely.
There's one always been let down because of what his actions are on the field.
Correct. Correct. So you're saying the channelization of that direction
Yes.
is extremely important, and we will see shortcuts.
Yes, definitely.
But that shortcut may not always lead to the end result.
No.
Brilliant. You know, we're going to go into a very positive limelight now. I remember there used to be this footballer named Paolo Rossi. Now,
Yes.
Paolo Rossi has played for Italy, which is one team which I support. Unfortunately, they didn't play this World Cup. But Paolo Rossi had an incident, and for viewers watching the show, I'm going to tell you what happened. So, he was involved in a betting scandal, which allegedly people said he was involved, and he was banned from the game of football. Now, you're an international athlete who is training at a very high level, and through this ban, they understood, or they rather realized with all the coming out of it, that he wasn't involved in it. And he had a 3-year ban, which was suddenly then reduced to 2 years. And he was called to play for the Italian World Cup team. And what happened after that was unbelievable. The guy goes on to win the World Cup for Italy after being banned. What must have been going through this athlete's mind, considering he was accused for something which he wasn't even a part of?
Conscious. You can cheat everybody, but you cannot cheat yourself.
Right.
So, in case of Paolo Rossi, everybody thought he was a cheater, but he himself knew he was not one. So,
Right.
his self-belief, his conscience did not allow him to sink down.
Right.
And that's, I think, played a crucial role in him coming back. And I'll add to it, he didn't win the World Cup. He played a crucial part when scoring goals in the semi-finals, and I think even the finals he
Yes,
scored
absolutely.
a goal.
Yeah. And he became from a zero to a hero.
Yeah. And people were dead against him in joining
Yeah.
the team.
Yeah.
But on a flip side, let's take somebody who has cheated. And he gets caught. But now he knows he's cheated, he gets caught.
Yeah.
His conscience will kill him.
Right.
He will never be able to make that comeback.
Right.
And even if he ever comes back into the game,
Yeah.
he will never be able to rise to the top. Sports is, full of such people who have gone into a jail and come back and gone rightfully to the jail. I'm not saying
Right.
they were wrong.
Right.
And they're never ever there at the level that they were before going into the jail.
Right. So, Karthik, what is your take-back message to the people of Goa? Like, let's assume right now we are in the dressing room of FC Goa. We're about to step out for a match, and you want to tell them that give it your all. There could be something that goes against you, but you got to give it your all. Okay. Let's assume we're in the dressing room right now. What is your message to the player stepping out to play?
So my message would be work hard and work honestly and play to your true strengths. That's it. If you do these three things together, results will come your way.
So that's amazing. So just focus on the process, do it correctly, do it honestly, go out there and give your 100%, and everything else will follow.
Sure.
Karthik, it's been so amazing to have you on the show. More than anything else, I've learned so much individually, and I'm going to take this back to my everyday life. So thank you for your thoughts.
My
and
pleasure,
we look
Anish.
forward to having you back. We hope you've enjoyed this segment of Off the Field with me, and that is the second episode where we talk about cheaters never prosper. We've spoken about the mind, we've spoken about how it can affect the conscience, as he puts it, we spoke about how it can affect a network of people involved with you, but do you know that this incident of cheating, or when you cheat, or when someone has cheated you, can cause immense harm to even your physical well-being. On the next side of this episode, or of this segment rather, we're going to speak to a doctor and going to bring light to a very unfortunate incident that happened because of the cheating scandal, and what it can do to the emotional and also the physical well-being of not just the player, but of the people attached to him. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to another segment of Off the Field with me, Anish Gwenin. We are talking about the issue of cheaters never prosper. With me now, we've come to meet Miss Sajal Dhond. Sajal happens to be a gynecologist. For those of you who don't know what happened with the cheating scandal with the Australian cricket team, David Warner, one of the players, unfortunately his wife miscarried with all the stress. She couldn't give birth to a baby they so wanted. I'm with Sajal right now. Sajal, can you bring more light to this topic and tell us how stress from such an incident could affect someone?
As a gynecologist, let me tell you one thing. See, there are so many things that can affect pregnancy. So when she was carrying, I read about her this. So she was around 3 months expecting. In this case, in this particular case, so she was 3 months expecting, and the stress there are some hormonal changes that take place during pregnancy. So in her case, when there is stress, there are some hormones which increase in the body. So there is something called cortisol which increases in the body when there is stress or anxiety. So there are some reports which show that this hormone can affect pregnancy. This hormone can cross placenta. So once it crosses placenta, it damages the growing fetus, and it can lead to miscarriage. But there are no proven this, but there are theories which still say that there is possibility that it can affect pregnancy. But in later part of pregnancy also, not in this case but otherwise in general, later part of pregnancy, it can cause this hormone can cross placenta, go to the fetus, and cause once the child is born also, there is effect on child's behavior. So these are the things which usually stress can cause in pregnancy. Not only it can end your pregnancy, but in later stage of life it can have the hormonal changes which happen intrauterine can give rise to some behavioral changes in the growing child. So
Sajal, this episode rather purely talks about what are the after effects of cheating. What happens if you actually go out there and do something which you're not supposed to do. How important is it that when we have family members like this who require care, or rather family members in general, we keep the stress out of our home?
So this is more of a moral issue, I feel, rather than scientific this. So whenever you are involved in sports or whatever work you do, your conscience should be clear. You should give your best, and rest you should leave to the rest should be whatever the result is. If you are giving your best, then the result should not matter, or you can take that. Even if it's a negative result, then you can take it in a better way. You can deal with it in a better way. That is what is my opinion on.
Right. So you mentioned earlier about the fact of anxiety and stress. So in a day of life of today, where there are so many people who are being affected by the topic of stress, or they're taking on the role of doing so much more than they actually need to do. Do you have a message for the viewers, the people of Goa who are watching, who are affected by stress or by the after actions of something that they've done or they would do?
So the thing is, stress or guilt, stress, I would define it as a negative feeling which, see, everybody goes through stress or guilt in some point of their life. They always go through this guilt. So whatever you do, you should think before you act. That is what my feeling is. That is what my advice is. So before you act, you think. instead of thinking, or even if you've done something wrong, or if you think whatever you've done is wrong, then in similar situation, when you get into similar situation in future in your life, so that time you should change your behavior rather than sitting with thinking that what you have done is wrong and you should not do it. Instead, you act on it. You try to change your behavior and think before you act. That is all I would like to tell.
It's been incredible having you in the studio there, Sajal. I mean, this view is going to change a lot of perceptions that what you do, your actions, don't just affect you, don't just affect the people who are with you, but they could even affect the people who could be with you in the future. Sajal, thank you for giving us the angle of science, and from the angle of a gynecologist, we also wish you the very best. I believe you're soon going to be a mother.
Yes,
and all the best to your family from all of us at Off the Field and Prudent.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back in the studio. Very unfortunate, isn't it? Very unfortunate what just happened, that, you know, an episode like cheating or going against your ethics can not just affect you, but the lives around you, and maybe sometimes even the lives who are not born. We have with us in our last segment of episode 2 of Off the Field, where we talk about Cheaters Never Prosper, our very, very lovely panelists who've been a part of making the show again. We have with us Miss Amita Kenny and of course Neeraj Prabhu. Thank you so much again for joining us and giving us your view. Ma'am, tell us, do cheaters prosper?
Not in the long run.
Okay.
They definitely don't.
So you believe that cheating will not would maybe get you to your result, not get you to your result, but in the long run, can you elaborate more on that?
Definitely. So what happens is, you know, when they do prosper, it is that moment where they've worked really hard, but through wrong methods. And they do celebrate that one moment of joy. But after that, they know that it is with wrong methods that have been applied. And because of that, for the rest of their life, they live with guilt, which destroys them eventually.
And as we've seen, it's not just them that get destroyed. It's so many connectors that are affected to them that also do get destroyed.
Especially people who love them, people who have been their supporters from the very beginning. It could be friends, family members, or even team members. So along with them, they too are a part of the guilt feeling.
As a specialist in the field of psychology, what does it actually do to the psychology of not just that person who's cheated, but the one whom they have cheated or the people connected?
They could lead to any extent, or it could take them to any extent, because as I said, guilt factor eventually works towards destroying the person. So either he destroys himself in various ways, or else people connected to him, because they know that he's not applied the right method, but he has cheated, can affect them. And they eventually could destroy themselves.
So here there is a person who's done something wrong and it's affected his psychology, even though he's not showing it, but we know that somewhere inside he's deteriorating.
He is. There is no doubt on that. There is no doubt on that.
Neeraj, sir, this is a great angle, you know, understanding the psychology of the mind. But, you know, the people who have been cheated, like, you know, say you have felt cheated, that, you know, someone has done something to you. What is your take-back message to people? You know, we've created an inspiring story from on the field, and we're now taking it off the field to explain to the people of Goa why going ethically straight in a direction which would take them to where they are is important.
Well, Anish, let us go back to the field. You know, what is cheating? It is resorting to unfair means to defeat somebody or to gain something. Well, in sports, we always believe in fair play. We believe that sports is a field wherein you have two people or two teams competing on a level playing field, and they have to win based on their merits and their strengths. So cheating is completely forbidden. And when does one cheat? When that person or team feels that they need to do something wrong or take some shortcut or forbidden way to overcome the strengths of the other team. So this is really unfair, and this is also disrespectful to the opponent, to the opposing team. So absolutely nobody wants to see somebody cheating and winning some battle on the field. And that's what everybody will want in life as well. In life as well, everybody will want to be successful in a very fair manner, and that person or that entity is always respected because they have never cheated. So I think what we can take from this episode is that if we pay attention to it, we will see that the players who have been involved in cheating, their reputation has gone for a toss. They,
Is there a
they will
fine
hardly
line?
be respected anymore.
Is there a fine line between cheating and strategy?
Absolutely. So you see, you can always base your strategy on ethics. You can base your strategy on the strengths of the players. You can base your strategy on the weaknesses of the opponents. You don't have to resort to something unfair or something forbidden to create your plan to win. That is completely out of order. As a journalist, when I go to cover a game or cover a sport, I would want to see people playing there with their strengths, with their talents, and not doing something that is wrong. If that is being done, we always expose them. So it is never a good idea to think about cheating something, because it will completely finish whatever reputation you have, and it will also affect the mental health of everybody around you, as ma'am has said. So it is self-destructing.
Right. I think there's this very interesting line which we've always learned in this field of media and journalism, that if you want to read about the bad things in life, you open the front page of a newspaper. You want to read about the good things in life, you go to the last page of the newspaper. So
Absolutely.
I think sports, as you say, from on field gives a great message back off the field. Tell us something, ma'am. There could be someone watching the show right now who's possibly been affected by someone who's cheated them. Is it only a setback, or do you believe they can look at it as a setup for a comeback?
Wonderful question. In fact, yes, in the beginning it is a setback. But they need to realize that setback has helped them with another chance in life. And that is why there is a better comeback. Okay, so you have to use that as your strength to realize that there is so much more by which you can bounce back. Now, there are certain reasons why a person reaches this area of cheating. As
Have you seen this in your field? Like, have you ever come across such cases?
Many.
Okay.
Too many. Okay, and it's where people feel that, oh my God, either I have been cheated or I have cheated. So both these things are very difficult for them to deal with. But the minute they realize, and the acceptance is there that, okay, this is what it is, it becomes easier for them to bounce back, and they bounce back in a much better way. The reasons what I feel is, as we talk about it, is the reason why people go through this area of cheating or they reach there is, one is the fear of shame, need for recognition, low self-esteem, and lack of self-confidence. And unfortunately, this is all piled up where society plays a role. Like, once you are a hero, certain things are expected from you no matter what. And that pressure of, matching that image which is expected by you really messes them. So I think society does play a big role in helping people to accept them as they are. Well, cheer your hero, but if ever there is a downfall, accept him even then.
One last take from you, Neeraj sir. Heroes. To become a hero, there is a process. There are so many times when there are distractions in that path. I'm not just talking about as a sports enthusiast or someone who's part of you to create a sports show. To become a hero, you could become a hero with your family members. You could become a hero in your workplace. You could become a hero, as she mentions, in society. But you're so tempted sometimes to take that shortcut. Should you?
Well, definitely not, because to become a hero, you have to really work hard, and in one moment of temptation, you could really destroy what you have done so far. You have invested your time, energy to come to a certain level, and you aspire to create or take a shortcut to something notch higher up, but then you could finish whatever hard work you have put in. So discretion is advised, and of course cheating is completely out of order as far as I am concerned. You have to really be very efficient and very honest about what you do to become a real hero.
Yeah, we thank you both for being a part of this episode. Viewers, please remember that if you ever think of going the wrong way, just don't do it. Just don't, think of going the right way. There's so many ways to get there. It might take time, but trust me, when it does click and when you do get that hit, there's no looking back. Even a message going out to the cricket fraternity, give them a chance. They have made a mistake. They've realized that they have made a mistake and what they've done is wrong. Everybody is human. And as we say, to err is human, and if we give people a chance, if we want people to give us a chance, I think it's our responsibility to also allow someone a chance to change. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Cheaters Never Prosper. Indeed, they never prosper. We will see you back for episode 3, and you're going to enjoy what episode 3 is all about. Episode 3 is something which comes out of a little bit of a personal study. I remember when I started off my career as a sports coach in Goa, I used to go to schools, I used to go to places where everyone is coming from the same school of thought that if you don't get good marks in your studies, you go and play sport. If you play sport, you may never get good marks in studies because you might not get the time to balance your education and your life in the field. But is there a balance between the two? Does that also mean that if an educated athlete plays sport, will that bring more value to the team? Or if an uneducated athlete studies better, would he bring more value to his education? A very interesting episode coming up on episode 3. And if you would like to be part of the show, remember to write to us on the links provided to you, and we will be very happy to feature you on this show and get your view so that we can make it bigger, better, and continue to give you some great content with Off the Field and me, Anish Gwenim, and my incredible team at Prudent Media. We look forward to seeing you for episode 3. Thank you so much. With love from all of us in the studio. We'll see you soon.